Here we have a new 2025 Toyota Land Cruiser. This one is a premium I-Force Max engine, 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine made with that hybrid motor. And it goes to an 8-speed automatic transmission, 4-wheel drive, heritage blue, and then we get the brown Softex interior. Front end here, we do get our LED headlamps along with the LED daytime running lights and fog lights. I love the yellow fog lights that were put on here. Just a nice touch to give it that traditional Land Cruiser feel to it. Now as we come around to these wheels, these are going to be 20-inch alloy. And I like that it still has a rugged yet sophisticated look to it. Passive keyless entry on the front. Memory seat functions, we have one-touch up and down windows on all 4 doors, rear window lock, power door lock controls, power mirrors that fold. We can set those to auto, or we can fold them in or out manually. And those are heated, and you do get blind spot monitors in them. But I love this interior color. Auto high beams, fog lights, and then we have the gas cap, lift gate, trailer brake controller, hood release, power tilt telescoping steering wheel. And then here we have the power driver's seat. We get 2-way power lumbar support and manual thigh support there. But love this interior. I even love the stitching on the seats. It's very, very nice. Now, big thanks to John Roberts Toyota here in Manchester, Tennessee for allowing me to review this Land Cruiser today. I'll leave a link below in the description. But if you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click that second link down below. It takes just a minute to fill out your information. I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on this or whatever new vehicle you might be interested in. Now I'm sitting behind myself, second row. That's my leg room. Not bad. I like that the seats are wider. I can kind of spread my legs out a little bit, but I could move this seat up a little. It's just my feet are huge. They're size 15, so I can't fit them all the way underneath the seat, but I have a little bit of space there to help. Seat back pockets, both sides, rear AC vents. We can change the fan direction here, auto mode, adjust fan speed. Then you have a 12 volt, and then 2 USB-C charge ports there. But there's a look at the front. We do have the sunroof, that's with the sunshade. Bottle holders here. And there's the light. Vents are integrated in the roof line here, and then we have a grab handle. Pretty sturdy. You could probably hang a shirt and a pair of pants on that if you need to. Child locks are here, lock, unlock. And then when you pop the gas cap, it says premium only. And again, this is the I-Force Max, so you get that hybrid setup. So that's just interesting. I wouldn't expect that. But LED tail lamps on the back. Apologize for the wind noise. There's the exhaust, spare tire. And then here's the space behind the third row. We do have the top tethers integrated on the back of the seats. And then you can configure this for additional storage. 2400 watt 3-prong household plug in here. And then bottle holders and a USB-C port on both sides here. Now I think you can, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm assuming you could put a third row seat in here, like in the older ones, and then makes it easier to tumble those seats up or down there if you're in that row. But y'all let me know in the comments if you can get a third row in here, because I don't know if I've seen one in person yet. Can't remember. But if you want to fold this flat, pull this here, and then it'll tumble. But again, top tethers are there. Releases here from the back seat or from the third row. And then quite a bit of recline you can use there. And then your lower anchors are behind this Velcro on the sides. But y'all can pause anywhere you need to take a closer look at this window sticker. This is pretty much all the information that the manufacturer gives. But that Land Cruiser Premium package, I highly recommend it just because you get the JBL sound system, the moon roof, and then everything else that comes with the front seats. And it's just a good deal, I think, even though it's $4,600. but less than 70 grand for sticker price. And with the iForce Max, 22 city, 25 highway for fuel economy. Now front passenger seats power. Again, I love this interior. And then a lockable glove compartment down here. And as we come back around to the front, just a quick look in the engine bay. There's that 2.4 liter turbocharged iForce Max. So you get that electric motor and the hybrid battery. Helps with fuel economy and power output. But let's show off the blinkers. So full LED for the blinkers. Hopping in the driver's seat. Nice leather wrap steering wheel. I like the shape and how it has Toyota actually spelled out there. Interesting horn sound. Now over here to the radio, we do have the Experience Drive Connect. So if you want the cloud navigation, intelligent assistant, etc., you can do that with the subscription. For audio, AM, FM, XM, Bluetooth, wireless CarPlay, Android Auto compatibility. Climate is here, if you want to go through that. Have a few options that aren't, well, that are actually in the screen, then you have the buttons below. But that's all the settings for the vehicle, and then your general settings, language and units of measurement can be changed there. Wi-Fi, hotspot, and you can adjust the sound, so on and so forth. Backup cameras here, guidelines follow you as you turn the steering wheel. You also have the rear camera washer there. And then down here, dual zone automatic climate controls. We have 3-stage heated cooled seats, the heated steering wheel. Just fan speed here, temperature, cut the whole system off. Hit this button here, pulls up that front camera, and you have different views that you can change, and whether the guidelines are on, all of that there. And there are your hazards. But 3 USB-C ports here, which is pretty cool. One of them is to actually go to the radio, and then you have 2 that are specifically for charging, and then you have a wireless charging pad here. My thing with this is, if you have 3 devices plugged up, you got to put them in the bottle holder or something. It's gonna be wires going everywhere, but that's interesting. I mean, I'm glad it's there. It's just funny. And then volume knobs here on the radio, turn that up. You can mute it there. Now, when it comes to drive modes, you have a few different things you can do. Sport, normal, and eco when the drive mode is on. Multi-terrain select, that comes on. You can go between auto, dirt, sand, mud, deep snow, all of that there. And then when you have the crawl on there, you can turn on the downhill assist, so on and so forth with the 4-wheel drive. But we're gonna put it in the eco mode for now. Electronic parking brake, automatic brake hold. Then for the shifter, push the button, reverse neutral drive. Come over here and you can manually shift the 8-speed. Then traction control, center differential, rear differential lock. And then we have 4-wheel drive either in high or push and you go into low. Cool box is here. Turn that on, hitting that button. But garage door transmitter, rear camera mirror, and then lights, sunroof controls. You can vent or slide it, so we're gonna show a one-touch slide here. Goes all the way behind on the second touch. And there's a look at the back from up here. Vanity mirror. And then if you look closely, we do get a heads-up display here, and then you have your settings in the actual radio, well, in the gauge cluster, excuse me, and I'll show you that right now. So go here in the settings, okay, hold okay. Here, you can press okay to turn it on or off, but hold okay. You can adjust the rotation. and then the brightness position, all of that. But while I'm here, a lot of your safety options are here. You can turn those on or off, and then you can change what's actually in the gauge cluster, I guess the gauge cluster itself. So you can hold OK and then change what's here, or you can go over here and change what's being shown on either side there. So I'd probably put fuel economy here and then put the, where's the turbo gauge? It might only be on one side, but there's tire pressure. Yeah, so I guess only certain things be shown on either side. So I would set this to, let's say, the turbo gauge again, and then I would set this to fuel economy on the right side. But tons of different options to choose from in terms of what's shown here. I guess I can't do that. Oh well, I'll just leave driving support up. But blinkers, high beams, auto, fog lights, and then we have the automatic wipers, one time off, auto, low, high. We can adjust that auto sensitivity here, rear wiper, and then push back for that rear fluid, pull up for the front. Bluetooth button, volume, voice recognition, track list and radio station presets, and then our audio sources, we can go through those here with the mode button. We get the driving support system, so we can turn the adaptive cruise on or off. We can set it to cruise or adaptive, and then once it's on adaptive, we can adjust the gap for that, set the speed cancel, turn on the lane keeping system, and then we can turn on the driving support system when available. The tow haul mode there, push button start. Finally, here's the key fob. But next, let's go ahead and take this 2025 Toyota Land Cruiser with a premium package out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in the Land Cruiser iForce Max, love the powertrain here. It is it's just fun to drive, but also fuel economy is great as well. Now, one thing I forgot to mention before I forget is you do have the option to pop the back glass. I forgot to hit the button. It's on the left side of the actual glass pane itself on the back, and then you just pull up on the flap there. I kind of remembered that when I got in here. I was like, hey, wait a minute, I didn't show that off. So I wanted to address that. You are able to open the glass hatch in the back. But I like how this drives. I like having an 8-speed automatic. I like having the manual mode. It's interesting how Toyota's kind of gone in this direction, because we're so used to having the big V8s, right? So the 4Runner, known for having the bigger V6, the Land Cruiser is known for having the bigger V8, just kind of having a big, bulky stance to it. Same thing with the Sequoia, the Tundra, and then all of a sudden we're getting twin turbo V6s and turbo 4-cylinders, some of them even with hybrid motors attached to them, or electric motors attached to them, and we're able to get more fuel economy, better power output. So the iForce Max is just it's a solid engine. Now, reliability wise, I don't know what might happen in the future, but from a driver's perspective, from just what it can do, being able to run the 2400 watt appliances to it, essentially, it's a great overall package if you do a lot of camping, off-roading, things of that nature. But just in general as well. Now, wind noise in here, I'm noticing, is very noticeable. It's not loud, but it's kind of like, wow, I wouldn't expect that driving through here. It's not necessarily a calm day out, but it's not an overly windy day either. But I do love how this thing drives. I love the iForce Max, but this feels like, I don't even want to say it feels like a Land Cruiser. It doesn't feel like the big boxy Land Cruiser that I'm used to. This just feels like a totally new vehicle. And I think it was a smart choice because it literally most people that get those Land Cruisers, they're not trying to get all the stuff in the back. They're not trying to fit. They're not trying to get a Sequoia. The Land Cruiser was just always, it felt huge, but I feel like the space wasn't utilized the way it should have been. And your fuel economy was terrible. It was aggressive off-road. It was bulletproof when it came to reliability, but it just didn't fit a lot of the people in the segment. And I feel like this really went for the base here, especially people in my generation who are like, I don't necessarily want to get 10 miles a gallon going off-road, let's say 3 times a year. I want something that's practical, and then when I need to go off-roading, it's surprisingly good at that. And that's what you have here in this package. But I like the use of the digital display. I like the radio here. Visibility is really good. It feels more like a Jeep. I feel like the windshield is bigger, and that's a good thing for off-roading. And one thing I will say is I cannot stand the safety sense sensor here, because it's always telling me it can't see my face. And it's just like on all Toyotas that have that newer driving support system. I think it's Safety Sense 3.0. But I'm also sitting back a little bit so I can get a wider view of the road as well. So now I've been in eco mode so far this entire drive. It's done a good job, but I want to put it into sport and see what it can do. So hopefully I'll be able to do that. Here we go. Yeah, that is nice. Now, one thing I will say is I took that corner and gave it some throttle because I was curious, and sure enough, it did not let me down. It is grippy. It really is. Having that full 4-wheel drive there, it just, yeah, that was impressive. Shouldn't be unexpected, but I just wanted to test it out. The 4-wheel drive really felt like all-wheel drive going around that corner there, which is really nice. But I want to give one more thanks to John Roberts Toyota here in Manchester, Tennessee for allowing me to review this Land Cruiser today. I'll leave a link below in the description. But if you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click that second link down below. It takes just a minute to fill out your information, and I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on this or whatever new vehicle you might be interested in. Now, if you're listening closely, you'll hear the wind noise. And again, it's not necessarily overly loud, but it does intrude on the cabin a little bit. Is it something that would deter me from buying this? No, not at all. It's everything else is so great. It just feels natural to have something that is this capable that you can hear the outside world in. And it's certainly not as loud as a Bronco or a Wrangler. But where this really shines is, like the older Land Cruiser, it's such a weird platform, not in a bad way, but just to be this off-road capable and ride this smooth, it's like a treat to have something that rides as well as this does. It feels great coming down the interstate. Good road trip vehicle, and again, with the iForce Max, you're getting that better fuel economy, like 25 highway, so pretty good for something that's this spacious and that's this off-road capable. And again, you're getting the best of both worlds because you have the power output when you need it from the iForce Max, but then also you have the fuel economy as well. But I think a great SUV for the money, especially if you're somebody that wants something like this, you're in this niche segment, because it is great in every way. But with all that being said, this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2025 Toyota Land Cruiser. And this one is the Premium.